Welcome back to another episode of Cape Ann Today. Today I am with only Ethan Forman, not Stephen Hagan, because Stephen's on vacation, but it's always great to see you, Ethan.
Hey, good to see you, Heather. Hope everything's well with you.
I'm
Thank you.
good. I'm very well. It's a very busy weekend in Gloucester and Cape Ann this weekend,
I
right?
think I think if you circled August 19th on your calendar and wanted to do something, there's just too much to do in Gloucester going on. Uh, First of all, starting on Friday at 10 a.m., they're going to do a Coast Guard celebration.
Mhm.
So you'll be able to tour the Coast Guards. This is part of Gloucester 400 as well. So they're going to be you'll be able to go to the Coast Guard station, and then on Saturday, there's the Fisherman's Memorial Service is going to be held on Saturday, August 19th, 5 p.m. August 19th. Circle this date in your calendar
Mhm.
because there's so much going on. So Fisherman's Memorial Service, and it'll start with a procession from the American Legion, which will be nice, and then it'll go down Middle Street and onto Stacy Boulevard. So that'll be great. I guess they're gonna be carrying the oars. It's an annual event. And I think after COVID, I think we're all getting together. I think earlier in the month this is the Gloucester Heritage Fisheries Month for Gloucester 400, and we had last week we had the celebration on the fish pier. They actually filled the dory with all the different kind of fish that you can catch, and then we honored our living fishermen during the in front of the memorial. So this will be a great. I think it's be good to get out after COVID. Everyone get together, and this is really what Gloucester's all about. There's a few art things that are going on as well. I'm going to put in a plug for a fellow alum at Commonwealth School, David Kravitz, who's part of the Arpeggione ensemble. They're going to be doing their bit called Songs of the Seafarer, Saturday, August 19th. That's it, 7:30 at the Gloucester Meeting House, 10 Church Street. Works by Schubert, Mendelssohn Mayer, and Amy Beach. It's on fishing, voyages, and the seas. This is a Gloucester 400 event. Songs of the Seafarer. Guest baritone is David Kravitz, a wonderful voice. He was about a year ahead of me in high school, and is a great guy. And if you can support them, and then there's going to be a musical salute to Gloucester 400. The Cape Ann Community Band is going to be performing a salute to Gloucester's 400th anniversary on what date?
August 19th.
Saturday, August 19th. So that's at 6:30.
Okay.
That's going to be at the bandstand at Sageford Park, 6:30. Rain date is Wednesday, August 23rd. So we have a packed calendar. There's a lot going on, which is good, good.
Now,
But
I have one more. I have one more. So I want to add another plug for the Gloucester Meeting House Foundation free concerts on Friday nights. They are just wonderful. You bring a lawn chair, you bring your own little picnic, but they do have a food truck every time. There's always a nonprofit there that is the proceeds, any sort of donations go to the nonprofit. And this weekend, this Friday night, it's Willie Alexander's Persistence of Memory Orchestra.
and what's the cause?
And, the Grace Center. So the benefit this Friday is the Grace Center, and the food truck is 5-star fresh food.
Yeah, good to know. Thank you, Heather. It's awesome.
All right, we should talk about news, what you've been writing this week. There was a rescue in Rockport, right?
Yeah, and this is kind of a funny story. We have scanners in our newsroom, and they're across the room, and I never hear anything. But I just heard something like two people were in the water,
Yeah.
and we're just trying to listen, and next thing we know, two people are safe. So I called the Rockport has these wonderful tandem of harbor masters,
Best. Yeah.
Rosemary Lesh and Scott Story. And I spoke to them, and so what happened was a father and his adult daughter were transiting a Sea Ray powerboat from Portsmouth to Nova Scotia, Portsmouth, New Hampshire to Nova Scotia. And this is fascinating, and I never knew this. And they were telling me this. It struck the engine block of a Liberty ship. one of those freighters that sunk off Rockport in World War II, called the Charles S. Haight. You actually go to the Rockport website, town website, and there's information about it because it's a navigation hazard, and their Sea Ray struck the engine block of that doomed Liberty ship. It's huge. One of these are huge. These are a huge freighter.
And it's right off the breakwater, right?
Right off the outer breakwater.
I had no idea it was there either. That was such a surprise in your story.
When they kept telling me, and I'm like, engine. I thought, did their engine block catch a rock? I didn't understand.
Yeah.
But you actually can go to the Rockport. Has a lot of history on this. It's marked on the navigation charts, so it's kind of a very strange story. So the boat went down. They had a little trouble with their radio. The harbor masters could only hear the Coast Guard communicating with them. They couldn't hear the other side of the call. Eventually, the harbor masters told me that they called 911, and I guess the way the triangulation of the signal that went to the Rockport police station, and so the harbor masters were dispatched and found the couple clinging to the bow of the boat before it sank. I mean, they are lucky.
Not kidding. That
Probably
picture
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Wish they had something a little closer, but I think it really tells the story better than I could.
Yeah.
Of how harrowing this was. And it was something that we just heard on the scanner.
Yeah. Right.
In passing. Like, we tend to tune it out, unfortunately. So great. It's a good story. Couples saved. Don't know what's gonna happen. The boat has to be salvaged. I mean, if oil and gasoline or whatever fuels on that boat, it itself probably could become a hazard. I don't know, but amazing history in Rockport, and then I started looking up history of the breakwater, and apparently they wanted to make like a 1.7 mile long breakwater and create a harbor. That Rockport could have been like
Austin.
Yeah, it could have been like Austin. It could have because it's a good harbor, but
didn't happen.
That's probably for the best. It's probably way for the best.
Yeah.
Rockport's a beautiful, charming place.
Yeah. Well, another story that you wrote about this week is about crime in Manchester by the Sea. There's some car break-ins happening there.
Yeah, we tend, I think, I've been doing this for almost 30 years as a reporter, and we tend to get a little bit, I don't want to say jaded, but there are a lot of car breaks in the world. But I got a call from somebody whose niece was victimized, 5 car break-ins at the Manchester Athletic Club. So I talked, that's a lot, and that shows you it's not just random. So I talked to the detectives in Manchester, and they think that it's they suspect it's part of a group called the Felony Lane Gang, who go around to these secluded places and gyms and hit them. And they don't just take your stuff, then they try to do, the victim here told us that her not the victim, but the aunt of the victim said they then started charging hundreds of thousands of dollars in groceries, which probably went out the door. Yeah. Unfortunately, they're not, of course, people who, you can dispute the charge and not have to pay, but we all get victimized in these things. And when our stores suffer like that, big losses. And in addition, they go to the banks and they try to steal your identity, try to steal your identity, try to get your bank account. So it's really insidious. So the tip from everyone is, don't leave anything in your car. Like, don't leave anything in your car. Don't make it a target. Lock it.
Is there any actual evidence that this is a Felony Lane gang?
They're following up on leads. So I mean, I think they wouldn't tell me that if they didn't suspect it.
Right. The
detectives are following up on leads, and I think they're telling me that they've identified a couple of suspects, or they're hoping to identify. So it's going to be something that they're going to have to follow up on, see if they get anyone into court on this. So they seem pretty positive that that's what this is. But So knowing that, and if you're watching this, don't leave anything in your car. Don't leave your laptop in your car. Don't leave your purse in your car ever. Take it with you and secure it. If you're going to go into a gym, they must have lockers. Locks are cheap. You buy a padlock and a rental lock, rental locker. Don't leave anything in your car, and don't make it a target. Don't make it worth, if someone's going to look at your car and they're going to look in, they don't see anything, or if the doors are locked, lock your doors. Always lock your doors in your car. So, and these poor people at the gym, they just, get victimized. Just want to go work out.
Is there
So,
any, have there been any reports of these break-ins in other towns or other
well,
areas?
the detectives said that there were break-ins in other places, and if you just Google felony lane gang, you come up with some stories from other parts of Massachusetts
Okay, so.
this year.
Hmm. All right, well, let's talk about a good story. We have a happy ending for the piping plovers this summer.
Well,
Because-
it was happy and wasn't happy. Well, it was a mixed blessing for the plovers.
But I think the end of the story was they did
Excuse me.
summer on Good Harbor Beach.
Well, the success was that they had 3 nesting pairs on Good Harbor,
Mhm.
which they usually have 2, so that's a big increase.
Right.
One of Kim Smith, who's the heads up the piping plover ambassadors, was telling me that she feels like climate change or storms really took its toll on the plovers this year. Not so much beachgoers, who might wander around the chicks. It was our predators. That's their other threat, hawks or whatever, foxes. But it really was the storms that wiped out one big storm, wiped out one nest, and another storm wiped out, so in total they had 4 chicks fledge.
And what's the average total?
That's about what they get. I
Yeah.
think that's about what they had last year.
Yeah.
And but they saw the return of a mother named Supermom, who's got now has only one leg.
Right.
She returned and she hatched 4 eggs, but they hatched early.
Hmm.
So so climate, maybe
Did they do okay, even though they hatched early?
I think they lost a couple. I'm not, uh, yeah, I think they lost a couple of their chicks.
See, I read your headline, and it sounded like it was a happy story in general for the
It
pipe.
is actually a happy story because actually overall in Massachusetts,
Right.
over 1,000 nesting pairs. They've seen that, and then we also had a really great relationship with Mass Audubon, who came in. The piping plovers ambassadors would sort of watch over the plovers in the morning.
Mhm.
Mass Audubon would come in. The city came to agreement with them, come in, and it's not just for plovers; it's for for coastline birds, and they were there during the day. Piping plover ambassadors would come later. Had really good communication about when the piping plover ambassadors would be there early in the morning, and they would tell the Mass Audubon, "Hey, we saw them here, here, and here."
Nice.
And it's really cool. Kim took me around the beach. We didn't see any of the plovers this year. It was a different part of the day that they're usually around. We saw another type of plover. I'm not going to tell you what kind. A lot of herring gulls, that steal your food at the Blue Collar Lobster. Those guys are there. So no, but it's good. It was a success for them because I think they established a relationship with Mass Audubon, and if they didn't have these storms, they probably would have fledged 10 chicks.
It's amazing. You would think, I mean, I suspect it's probably not the greatest summer for beachgoers. So I would think that the beaches are a little bit more quiet, and that would support the piping plovers.
Yeah, because we went to the beach yesterday. It was overcast, and there were people on the beach, but it wasn't crowded. So in some weird ways, perhaps if you do have a crappy summer,
Yeah.
that's a scientific term. No, if you do have a bad summer, it does keep the beachgoers down. But as we saw, there were two storms
Yeah.
that took its toll on the nest. She also told me that Coffins Beach had a successful. I didn't put this in storage. Coffins Beach also had success with the plovers as well. I think they had 5 nesting pairs. But the challenge of Good Harbor is like it's so accessible, and which is good. I mean, it's a beautiful beach, and who
Right.
doesn't want to just lie on Good Harbor Beach and just watch the waves? But it's that conflict between beachgoers and nature.
Have you heard the piping plover's pipe?
No,
It is incredible.
no, I have
That's,
to.
we say piping plover all summer long here on Cape Ann, but to actually hear them pipe is really magical. So
Yeah,
next
that'd
time
be cool. It would be. Yeah, I gotta get up really early in the morning
you
and get
do.
out there.
No, I did that once. I was walking with Kim and she was showing me the plovers. We saw the little guys running all around with the father and child, because the fathers, I guess, sort of take care of them. And I'm thinking, oh, this is so amazing. And then I said, what's that sound? And she said, that's the piping. And it is just, I've never heard anything like it. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's awesome. And Kim is she's done such great work. Her photos are really if you see the Gloucester Daily Times today, it's one of her photos. Maybe I can hold this up here to see.
Gosh, you have to love those little guys.
And she's coming out with a film. She's producing a film,
That's exciting.
a fictional Moonlight Bay. I think it was like something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and a little fictional, sort of a fictional plover family, maybe set in Gloucester.
Oh,
I don't know.
I think it
Kind
was,
of might look like Good Harbor Beach. Anyway, great. Hats off to her. She's really taking this up, and it's a threatened species. Once they're gone, they're gone. People say, "Oh, why do we need to do this?" It's like once that species is gone, it's not coming back.
right, right. And she's also quite the authority on monarch butterflies, and she has
Yes,
written an award-winning film on the monarchs.
yeah, she's amazing. So just it's a public season's over. The birds are going to probably fly off soon. We still have some good summer weather left, but just try to respect them. If you see them, just let them go scooting by. Just let them go by, and that's it.
All right. So you have a busy weekend. I know. We'll catch up next week with everything, right?
Yeah, well, I'll be covering the Fisherman's Memorial Service on Saturday. I'm looking forward to that. It's really going to be a good. Hopefully, there'll be a good turnout, and yeah.
But on top of that, we have Arpeggione Ensemble playing at the Gloucester Meeting House. There is the musical Salute to Gloucester, produced by the 400 at Stageport Park on Saturday at 6:30. So
Oh yeah.
on the 19th. Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you next week, Ethan.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
Interested in a sponsorship? Email sponsor@1623studios.org to learn more.